What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bling Talk, sponsored by onceinsurance.com. Today we have Steve Gagnon, the CEO and founder of EQUES Timepieces, a brand built from childhood love of watches that stemmed from a Mickey Mouse watch at age 6, which obviously turned into a passion and a love of mastering horology and leading the creation of EQUES, which is now recognized, obviously, for its craftsmanship and timeless design. I can't wait to dive into your journey and more about this amazing brand, and obviously to learn more about yourself and meet you, man. A pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, Anthony. It's a pleasure to be on. I'm excited to talk about my brand a little bit, and hopefully spark some interest from some folks here. I'm Stephen Gagnon. EQUES Timepieces is my company's name. We specialize in building out watches made out of stainless steel and brass. The reason why we do that because we want our watches to last. We don't want them to break after a few years of having them, like which most timepiece companies. They won't publicly say that, but it's kind of what it is, so they can have repeat customers to buy new watches. We want our watches to be passed down for generations. You can find us at EQUESTP.com, and EQUES is EQUES TP.com.
There you go. I got it up on the screen right
now. Oh,
now.
Nice.
Man, actually, now that I have it up here, this is amazing. You have some really, really great, articles and beautiful website, man. I tell you what, I've been looking at websites for 15 years. I love the brand, and this is really cool. So you guys have obviously been recognized for quite a few different things. To tell us a little bit about it. And first of all, I guess before we get to how you ended up on big news publications like I just saw on the website, tell us what sparked your interest with this Mickey Mouse thing, because I interview people all the time, and it's always some crazy little thing like this that they saw, and that's it. They're locked on for life.
I don't know what it is about watches. I guess, at least for me, the Mickey Mouse watch, when I was gifted that when I was 6 years old, I loved everything about it. Like the arms move to tell time, which I thought that was super rad, and I can hear the ticking and talking of the watch. And it just, like sparked a fascination in me, and that it just continued to last. So every time I saw a watch, I was like, oh, I got to check this out, or I got a watch as a gift. I always appreciate and love it. I still have all my watches except for the Mickey Mouse watch and maybe a few other ones when I was younger, which is a bummer. I wish I kept it. Thinking about it now, what a great story that would be, and be like, hey, I still got the Mickey Mouse watch. But I don't, unfortunately. But yeah, it sparked like an interest in me for generations, going down the line. And I would make lists of all these different watches that I like and what I like about them and what I don't like about them, the price points, all this jazz. And it continued on until like my late 30s when my wife came downstairs from bringing our child to bed. And she looks at me and she's like, are you looking at more watches? And I lied to her and said, no. And then she just looked at me and goes, how about you just make one? And I literally I felt like a light bulb went off above my head. And I'm like, huh. So I spent like a couple years really researching the craft and trying to understand the craft. What does it take to build a watch? What are the components? How does a watch really work? So I kind of self-educated myself, went to seminars, took some classes and everything. Still, I consider myself still like an entered apprentice, nowhere near like a master craftsman of these watches, but I know enough to how I want them to work and how they work. And I would put them together and then take them apart, then put it together and then take it apart. Put one piece in, take it apart, put it back in, see if it still worked. And if it worked, I was like, yeah. If not, I was shaking my head like, what the heck did I do? And then after a while, I was building these watches to perfection and, decided to be like, all right, well, now that I understand the craft a little bit more, what do I want my watches to represent? And I'm just like, or what type of watches I want to build. And I'm like, well, I want to build a high quality watch that's affordable for everybody, not just these high end watches that only a few selection of the population can afford. I want the everyday college graduate who got a new job and be like, hey, I need to get a nice watch for work, and also want the retiree or the mid, person who's like, well, I normally wear a smartwatch, but I should probably get a nice watch for like meetings or like events and stuff like that. So that's kind of like, it's a big range, but that's kind of how I wanted to build my watch out, and to focus on those type of customers. Now, the components itself, I decided to build it out of stainless steel and brass, which is how the high-end watch companies build out their watches. They build it out of stainless steel and brass to make sure that the watch stays true to itself. It's longevity wise. It's like not much maintenance is required. I have battery operated. I have automatics, which means you just you move your wrist and it starts ticking away. And I didn't want to incorporate any of the plastics, adhesive, ceramics that a lot of the watch companies are using now. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just they're not, to me, it's a high quality product. They look great. They cost less to make, so therefore they can charge a little bit more or make it a little bit more price savvy depending on which watch company it is. And they can promote their watches on that realm, but at the same time, with those materials, they do wear very fast and they do break very fast. So someone, might say like, oh, I got like 2 years out of it, I'm just going to buy another watch from this company. That's fine if that's what they want to do, but my watches, I want them to last, and I want them to last forever. I want, like my greatest wish is for all these watches of mine, if the people purchase, pass it down to their son, their daughter, their son-in-law, their cousin, their nephew, having it keep being passed down from generations to generations. And they should, because they're built with such high quality.
This is slick. This design is slick. You already know.
Yeah, the Dark Knight and Merovingian are two of my favorite watches.
So I really love, first of all, these are sweet, Boo. These are fly. I really like the cleanness, the slickness, and I really like that you said something. I think very few entrepreneurs and business owners say, but the best ones typically say is, I want to provide the best quality that's affordable for everybody, which is really just good character. And so how do you do that? Are your costs higher? And we won't go into too much of that if you don't want there, but if you kind of went into it a little bit, but do these the way you make it take longer? Let's talk about manufacturing. Talk to
Yeah,
me about where you manufacture. Are you doing these at home? You got a team, scalability, things like that?
yeah. I don't have a team. It's pretty much just me and well, I have a very small team. Me and a few folks here. I do the design of the watches myself, and then I have them manufactured overseas, within like China or Romania, some other other countries, and then because they can mass produce it a lot faster than I can, and they also have the tools to make it more precision, doing the hour markers exactly straight in line, make sure it's not they have the quality tools that I don't have, and right now can't afford because they're ridiculously expensive, but they have the skill set that they can use to put those pieces together. What happens when it comes to me is that our team opens up we pick a random sample of like 20 watches and we crack them open, and we're like, and we don't sell these after we crack them open. And it's mostly just for QA. So we look at it and be like, hey, is it built with high quality? Is it built with the parts that we specified? Is the design, like how it should be, how we spec'd it out? So far, we've had very little issues, knock on wood.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like trying to find the right manufacturers, in which that's the hardest thing, is finding someone who you can trust to build out these products. So it's a lot of interviewing, getting samples, getting a ton of samples actually, of their parts that they're going to be building this out with, so you can do your own testing, like banging it up, the hammer, to make sure it's durable, make sure it will last. Getting samples of the watches. I want, my biggest thing is I want them to last. I want them to last forever. And and I promote saying that they're a good quality build. So I start figuring, how about like, I'll just put it to the test. I'll run it over with my Ford Explorer. And of course I did. And I bent the watch a little bit and I broke the glass, but the watch was still ticking away. So I'm just like, score. To me, that's a win. Because the glass, can always be replaced. But the mechanics inside the watch is really what I want people to focus and purchase on, which is a hard message to explain and express. Um, yeah, but going back and forth with manufacturing, getting them set up, having them assembled over here, putting them together. I keep them in a clean room environment for storage to make sure and wrap them up in cloth so they're properly stored in a heated or temperature gauged room. And I'm sure my wife doesn't like that because I'm taking a lot of room in the garage,
Mm.
but she's been super supportive of it so far. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. So you really just how long ago did you start the business?
I started about 3 years ago.
Okay. And so that's incredible. And as far as like the growth of the business so far, you started the business 3 years ago, kind of at a crazy time, actually, because we
Yeah.
talk about COVID a lot of times here, but a solid play. Um, how does the business grow? Is it you personally? Do you guys do marketing? Are you not in that phase where you guys are like, hey, we're kind of perfecting the craft here, dude? But I'll tell you, oh, before I forget, running over your watch with a truck ad is a stellar advertisement. That's a breakthrough ad.
We did that. We put it on TikTok Live, and we got like a ton of views on it. And I was like shocked and blown away, and some sales out of it, which I was shocked. I'm just like, oh wow.
Yep.
It's a funny thing because you have my wife there like holding the camera, and she's like, "What am I focusing on?" I'm like, "Just watch me drive over the car. Watch me drive over the watch. Damn it!" Joking around with her completely, and I'm driving over, and she's zooming in and everything. And she's like, I think you broke it. And I'm like, don't say that out loud.
Yeah.
And then I pick it up and I clear the glass off and you still see the hands moving. And I'm like, solid. Yes.
Yes, yes. So I'm glad you said that, but and I wanted to mention it because I think that's just going to work, and sure as shit, it did. Um, but I got a bunch of really good TikTok influencers. It's actually they're part
Oh,
of
do
my
you?
a networking group that I do. And I just had about three or four that came into the group this year, and man, once those guys are on, they can post whatever.
Nice.
And do pretty well. But anyways, I'll let you get back to that. I didn't want to. I don't want to forget to say that like that's a breakthrough ad. So you were talking about the marketing and the growth.
Yeah. We've been slowly growing year over year. Yeah, we started like 3 years ago and it was like kind of well, I took a stab at saying like, hey, let's start selling around Christmas. So we start advertising and I went gangbusters on like meta ads and trying to promote the watches, and I actually had a really good response, better than I expected. And then it kind of over a few months it gets a dry spell because gift season is no longer after Valentine's Day. Gift season products kind of like taper down, and then it picks up again back in like the spring, like in May. So it's been growing a little bit year over year. I've been doing a bunch of different events, like going to like wedding expos, to pop up events, selling them at like a little bit more a cheaper um, cost, just because I want to get the name and brand and recognition out there. And those been when I go to like the pop up market, it's I'm selling really well there and people love the story. They love the fact that it's like a Southern California based company, that we're local. Like it's a passion of mine. They love people I tell the story to. They love the story, so I've been growing it over there. And that's also translated into various different media outlets through either Instagram influencers, or just reaching out to like Maxim, for example. Like like they did like a little picture of my watches on their Instagram page, just because I hounded them like crazy. But it was to me, it was worth it. It's persistence. Is you're trying to compete in a huge market that like these small watch companies like mine. It's a struggle to compete with the big time people. like the Movement, for example. They're pretty huge in, Southern California, all over the place, but they're based in Southern California. So trying to get people off of Movement and trying to say like, hey, like, we're like Movement, but a little bit different. Here's our story. Has resonated with a lot of folks. Marketing efforts, because we don't have a huge marketing budget, has been strictly focused on Southern California and the U.S. I would love to branch out to like other countries or more East Coast space type of thing, trying to get more folks with brand recognition out there, just so we can sell a little bit more. Some of the news outlets, I would just hound them pretty much until they were like, "We're going to post a story about you guys," or like, "Hey, do a press release and we'll do it," um, which has worked out and everything. But marketing is always constantly the challenge, is trying to get folks to understand the brand story and getting them to resonate with the story over a internet sphere, versus face to face. We're doing great. Like the pop up markets and the wedding stuff like that. Like I almost sell out of all my inventory every time I go, which is fantastic. So it's just trying to get that type of story out there over the web versus constantly doing it face to face. And I love doing the face to face stuff with folks. I get to hear their story, what they like about the watches, what they don't like about watches, like why they prefer smartwatches over other watches. Some folks say, hey, I like it, but I don't wear watches. They go, but if I did wear watches, I would wear this. And I always ask them, well, why would you wear my watch? And they would be like, oh, it's because of the design, the craftsmanship, the story. And like a lot of the times it's the story, of the watches. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It makes sense. And what shocked me the most about that is that you have just been hounding down these news publications. So, that was a question. It's like, how do you as get your jewelry brand in major publications like Fox and ABC and things like that? And I think you answered that for me. But basically,
Yeah, hounding them like crazy, politely, not like being like overbearing, just being like, hey, just following up on my email. Like, hey, this is our story. Hey, I'll happily send you a free watch or any watch that you want to take a look at, and like just for like a little blurb about our outfit. And some of them were like, yeah, we'll absolutely do it. I love the story, but it's going to cost like 10 grand to do. And I'm like, dude, I don't have 10 grand. Like if I had 10 grand, like I wouldn't be reaching out to you. I'd be doing other things with it.
yeah, that's the truth. But I got to tell you, I commend that. That's not something I hear every day, and that's really cool. I'm gonna make note of that real quick. I might have help for you on that. A good contact. So the marketing. I have a question. Do you guys have a brick and mortar location?
We don't have a brick and mortar. It's strictly e-commerce. We do
Okay.
sell at our product at a few jewelry shops around Southern California, which has been great. Um, it's great to be featured in these jewelry stores, and I love building the relationship and partnership with. Is again like the brand recognition. A lot of people are like, "Well, who's this brand versus Citizen, or who's this
Yeah.
brand over like some other, I can't, drawing a blank on other watch manufacturers, but who's this brand, and trying to get them to be like, well, I like the watch, but like I don't know the brand, so I'm not really going to buy it. Is again trying to get the brand story out there. Like when I go to like some of these jewelry stores have like parties, which I'll go to, excuse me, and I'll hang out with my watches, and and I'll talk to them about it and tell the brand story, and they would be like, oh, that's a really cool story, like I'll get the watch. It's like getting these jewelry companies to, like I know they have like their own bottom line is trying to sell their jewelry and get customers in to buy their jewelry at a higher price. I get it. Everybody wants to make money, and not everybody's going to tell the story behind each of the manufacturers that they have there or designers that they have there. It would be cool if they did, because I think it would build a nice little reputation for them, knowing that they care about like vendors and like the story behind each of the products. But some people don't not want to hear it, or some of the salespeople just want to make the sale. They figured longer, as soon as they get them into liking something, like
Hmm.
I don't know, but
Yeah,
I wish they spend more time doing that.
yeah, absolutely. Um, Marketing and manufacturing and inventory and the brand and all that type of stuff we've kind of covered. Um, I would like to actually know a little bit. So now you're for sure mainly focused on ecom, but you guys do pop up in these cool little spots, and I think that's a really high conversion area. First of all, the stuff looks good. It's a beautiful product, so I could definitely see that working. But if you're an e-commerce brand, you gotta be able to bring people to us in some capacity, or you have to be found when they're looking for you. Um, there's so many ways to slice and dice it,
Yeah.
and obviously you have Google, obviously you have Facebook, you have all these things, but there is some very, very unique ways to put yourself and find in front of a customer these days. Won't get into those right now. Obviously, I'm obviously been using Google. I've spent millions of my own dollars on Google and countless $1 million of other people's money managing it over the 15 years. But the world's changing. There's some pretty cool stuff, and over time, it just really comes down to, hey, I want to be in front of an athlete who buys watches, or I want to be in front of a Macy's purchaser or department store purchasers. Um, it's easier to do at a lower fraction of the cost right now. But anyways, I digress. Are you guys like, as far as your marketing, do you social media posting all the time? When you said running ads, do you run those ads yourself? Are you guys doing SEO, or is it kind of just, hey, we got the website and we're there? Or are you guys like aggressively doing anything else? It can be LinkedIn, it could be whatever.
Yeah, we're doing. I like my biggest followers are within Instagram, so I do posts just almost about every day, if not like 5 times a week, of different videos, posts. Anybody who purchased a watch, reach out to them and see if they want to like send me pictures of them wearing the watch, so I can promote customers wearing it, and also them, because I figured it'll be a nice little spotlight. Like, hey, spotlighting, Who Man rocking out the Nightwing watch,
Yeah.
on his everyday travels. I try to try to promote it that way, so folks can um, feel like part of the brand, part of the company. Also, I work with a few different photographers and a videographer who does commercial shooting for my products and everything, and I'm very happy with them. We do stuff on LinkedIn as more of a brand awareness type of thing, where we'll reach out to, or excuse me, or I'll just do posts to say, hey, this is what's going on with our brand. Here's the latest and greatest, or maybe post a commercial on there. Facebook, definitely post on Facebook. It gets transitioned over from Instagram. Um, we do our own marketing. Um, we have the commercials, the segments, and the proofs and the materials that we build out, or build out from us, except for some of the videos. The videos, we have a videographer for it and everything. But the photography, we have a photographer for it. But it's all posted and presented by us, um, and we run the marketing through that channel. Um, we've done a few Google ads trying to get out there. SEO, we're constantly building and working that out. We have someone a monthly retainer to work out SEOs and build that out. Hopefully we'll see some dividends coming from that shortly. Hopefully, more we get higher ranking, on local watch stuff and everything like that. But marketing has been a struggle. Um, but struggle, but like a learning experience for this company. I feel like it's only improving more and more every day. For us, we're learning new techniques, learning different ways to market. I still feel like we're kind of at the infancy phase of it, but like we're hopefully growing to be more substantial.
Building your own watch company isn't easy, and marketing it isn't always the easiest either. Can it? Because it can be pretty competitive.
Oh, it's ultra competitive. It's
It can be. It can very well be. And more in watches and people who come up with their own brands and their designs, they really need breakthroughs and some things like that. So it kind of sounds like you're doing those things. Are you running your Google ads and Facebook ads by yourself?
I am, yeah. Yeah, we're all in one shop. Yeah, we do everything.
Cool. And as far as AI, and this will probably be my last question or close to it. So obviously, I'm here to build a community. I feel like the small business owners, if you thought that getting hit with Facebook and Google was hard, the next wave of AI is going to be quicker, faster, more powerful, and it is going to affect us as business owners faster than I thought it was going to be. And it's definitely going to affect employees. And where one of the struggles we're going to have, every business is going to have, is you're either going to be a business owner who adopts AI and technology. This is going to be for AI and technology, or you're going to be, and then your staff either needs to be able to like use certain stuff, even if it's like they have to be educated on that stuff, or very quickly there's a lot of jobs can be replaced. Like right now, sales, even automation, all types of different stuff. So one of the things I want to do is continue to educate everyone in the community. So just let us know, man, how do you feel about it? What are you thinking? Hey, I don't know nothing about it. Or, hey, I've been seeing it and just don't see how it pertains to watchmaking or business operations or anything like that. But I just like to get a read on where everyone's at there and how they feel about it.
Yeah, totally. Like I would love to use AI a little bit more to my advantage than I think what I've been using it. Like been using ChatGPT for like writing like posts and advertisements and everything. But I know that's not like really using AI. It's just kind of writing it for your content and to make sure you're grabbing the right keywords, the right hashtags, all that jazz. I tried a few different apps and I just didn't like it. It seemed too robotic way like people would be like, oh, use this AI person and it'll like generate some ads and everything, and I just wasn't the biggest fan of it. It looked, yeah, I would love to use AI. I just don't know how to use it and what would be the appropriate tools that would be beneficial for my business.
Totally on the mark there, dude. And I appreciate you sharing that. The only other question I'll ask is, have you talked to your staff about it at all? And sometimes it's better that you maybe learn a little bit prior to that. Um, but I'm just curious if the staff and how many people do you have in there?
I have part-time folks, so I have about four part-time folks that help out. Right, five.
Okay.
Forgot someone. I did talk to them about using AI, and they're all like in the similar boat as I am. They're like, "Yeah, let's use it, but like, how can we use it? What would be the appropriate tool for us to use for as AI?" And like, we've researched into the AI things, but it's mostly for like, like real estate or more service based thing than product that we're seeing, and maybe we're just looking at the wrong ones, and there's plenty of product ones out there that we're just not seeing. But yeah, like that's something that we definitely need to explore more because I know folks are moving more to AI, marketing than what we have.
Well, came we're in the right spot. I got a couple things that we've built a lot of different solutions, and there's some pretty cool stuff out there. So what I'll do, I'll shoot you an email after this with a bunch of different free resources, free trainings, and things like that. And I'll get with you personally, and we'll sit down and I'll do a little run through with you on some of the behind the
Oh,
scenes,
sweet.
and I'll show you some of the automations and so the platforms that we have jewelers that are literally not spending anything on ads, and they're generating automated leads directly to their phone. Like, hey, John wants to sell his gold before you go to Antwerp, or you know, yeah, premium automated lead delivery. And a whole lot more to that besides that, but I'll be happy to show you that stuff, what's working, what I'm doing. Obviously, when you book an appointment with me, Steve, you're being reminded, you're being followed up with, like No way I could
Yeah.
run the way I run without that type of stuff. So happy to show you that stuff. It's been a pleasure talking to you. If I could just ask one last question, I know you're busy. If you had one piece of advice to anyone in the community, or if you are looking for help from anybody in the community, and then just that, and then just where they can find you again. And I'll go ahead and pull it up on the screen for you as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, like I one bit I'll answer kind of both questions because I think like, they're both kind of relevant. One bit of advice I would give folks is, especially entrepreneurs, is if you have a passion and you have something that you love to do, stop saying you're going to do it and just do it. You may crash and burn. Get up and try doing it again. You crash and burn again, get up and do it again. There's so many times where I crashed and burned and not and said to myself, I'm like, this is not good. I'm like, I love watches way too much to give up. Um, that I'm going to keep on trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. And it's going to get to eventually a point where you might say like, okay, enough's enough. But like, at least you can look back and say like, I tried everything I could possibly do and to fill my passion and my dream. And don't be afraid to ask for help. That's a big thing. Like my wife's a communication editor in communications. Like I had to ask her for help for writing emails and posts and all that jazz, and I didn't want to bother her because she's a working professional and and a parent. Like we're both parents, and like she has limited time, so I didn't want to bother her. But like don't be afraid to ask for help and don't be afraid to work on your passion. Now, going back to the other question is, what would you give, what type of help that you would get that you're seeking from other people? It's probably just like everyday business advice, like how to grow your organization, how to run things on a limited budget, how to raise capital. And then I know that's one thing that I've struggled with, is raising capital. Um, is if any folks have any suggestions on how to do that, and not you say, hey, use crowdfunding. That's great, but like what are some techniques for crowdfunding that are not like something I can't Google on the internet? you know
Well, let me tell you, raising money is hard.
it.
It is no joke. But I've raised quite a bit of money in a very difficult space. It's federally regulated. It's every body of water is different tides, different regulations, different marinas, private versus this versus that. And man, we doubled and tripled our sales at one point, and we were still begging for two
Oh wow.
million. Begging for $1 million. But then it does come. It's not easy. I'm just telling you, VC money. But maybe you don't need all that. So we can have a talk about that as well. I have decks and things that have worked.
Yeah, because like to me, to be able to afford some folks that that could help out with the marketing aspect. Like I need more capital than what I'm pulling in, because what I'm using for sales, I'm using for business operations, expansions, and all that stuff. Um, just to run the business to keep it afloat. But like raising capital and getting some of the additional funds that I can use to build out the business even more, without thinking about month to month budget, would be awesome. And that's the
Yeah,
hard thing with small micro brands. That I mean, if you have the capital, that's great, but if you don't have the capital, it's a struggle.
it's always good to have capital, but luckily there is a lot of ways right now and tools that allow you to grow the business a lot more cost effectively. Of course, the money's great, but when the money's not here, we're going to use creativity and crawl and scratch and try to utilize whatever we do to make it work, because so that investors are coming to us, or hey, we don't need you anymore, we figured it out. You just gotta have it like that. So yeah, man, I kind of wish we would have maybe touched on a little bit about your personal story. I don't know if that was something we want to jump into. We got to cut it now, but you talked about getting up and getting back down, down and up, and I was kind of reminded of the first conversation we had on here, but you're a strong dude. I don't know if you want to go into that, but you're walking the walk and talking the talk, and it's been a pleasure to meet you. I think it's going to be a pleasure to know you, and I want to see. Like, I look forward to you just crushing this brand here, man. And
I
so,
appreciate it.
in closing, you can touch on that really quickly if you'd like, or let's go ahead and just let people know where to find you again and get in touch.
Yeah, the personal story is project manager by day, watch manufacturer by night. Love to do that stuff. I got a small family of a 5-year old crazy daughter, but she's wonderful. Living in the dream in Southern California. Had some struggles. Building out the company. From the beginning, just crashing and burning, meaning like trying to figure out different ways to manufacture the product, like trying to get the design, well, communication, with the other, with the manufacturers and everything like that was challenging in itself. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
what
no,
else.
no, yeah, no, definitely. I was talking about how I shared my accident with you, and you shared some stuff back with me, but yeah, we don't need to go there. But badass dude. Um, Yeah, man, appreciate it, Steven. Look forward to building a relationship with you and being there. I'm gonna send you, I'll send up some follow up stuff and some goodies for you. Just appreciate you being on, and everybody, you guys want to check it out? Log on to the YouTube at Jewelry Box AI. I'll go ahead and share that with you guys. Please do subscribe. We're gonna be putting up the podcasts here for people, and then slowly you guys are going to start seeing some new playlists and some AI trainings that we're going to be doing. So go ahead, of course, to share. And other than that, Steven, it's been a real pleasure. I really enjoyed this, and I look forward to becoming your friend and watching you kick ass and grow this brand, my brother.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and this has been a blast. I really enjoyed being on your show, so I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. Talk to you soon, Steven. I'll be in touch.
All right.